Paper 1, question 2.
So question 2 is structured like this. Read again the lines one number to another number. How does the writer use language here to, and then it'll give you a particular task. 8 marks, and you should comment on interesting words and phrases and or language features and techniques and or sentence forms. And we identified the interesting words and phrases as the semantic field. So the topic of the words, which topic do they fit into? For example, would they be escape? Would they be love? Would they be medical? It can be any theme. What are the techniques? When you're talking about the semantic field, so the interesting words and phrases, you can't just say the writer uses a semantic field. You have to say what of, a semantic field of what. To say he uses language, full stop, or he uses a semantic field, full stop, is nonsense, and you won't get any marks for it.
The Landlady by Roald Dahl. On the other hand, a pub would be more congenial than a boarding house. There would be beer and darts in the evenings and lots of people to talk to, and it would probably be a good bit cheaper too. He had stayed a couple of nights in a pub once before, and he had liked it. He had never stayed in any boarding houses and, to be perfectly honest, he was a tiny bit frightened of them. The name itself conjured up images of watery cabbage, rapacious landladies, and a powerful smell of kippers in their living room. First of all, what is the writer saying? How does the protagonist feel about the things that he's thinking about? And secondly, which techniques can you see? The semantic field there are a couple of semantic fields. Each list is a list of reasons to like or dislike the type of accommodation. So there are 3 reasons why it would be good to stay in a pub, and there's a list of 3 reasons why it would be worse to stay in a guest house. So the good reasons are associated with the word congenial, which means fun, and the bad reasons about the guest house are associated with the word frightened. What's the writer saying here? What's the character feeling? What do you understand, and how does it make you feel? The writer's saying that the character would prefer to stay in a pub. The character's feeling intimidated by boarding houses, but optimistic about pubs. We understand that he'll probably choose the pub. And it makes the reader feel understanding of why he would prefer a social pub to a threatening and unpleasant guest house. Lamb to the Slaughter by Roald Dahl. Now and again she would glance up at the clock, but without anxiety, merely to please herself with the thought that each minute gone by made it nearer the time when he would come home. There was a slow, smiling air about her and about everything she did. The drop of a head as she bent over her sewing was curiously tranquil. Her skin, for this was her 6th month with child, had acquired a wonderful translucent quality. The mouth was soft, and the eyes with their new placid look seemed larger and darker than before. When the clock said 10 minutes to 5, she began to listen, and a few moments later, punctually as always, she heard the tyres on the gravel outside and the car door slamming, the footsteps passing the window, the key turning in the lock. She laid aside her sewing, stood up, and went forward to kiss him as he came in.
Stop the video and see if you can find list of 3, semantic field, try and name it, and complex sentences. So list of 3 things is in the green area, and some of the other vocabulary for the semantic field is highlighted in yellow. So we have words like slow, smiling, tranquil, wonderful, translucent, soft, placid. And we decided that these meant she was vulnerable or delicate. Additionally, we talked about complex sentences for describing.
What's the writer saying here? That the woman is patient and calmly waiting. What's the character feeling? The character's content. What do you understand? This is likely to be a pregnant woman waiting for her partner. How does it make you feel? It's reassuring and familiarly domestic. 1984, George Orwell. He picked up the children's history book and looked at the portrait of Big Brother which formed its frontispiece. The hypnotic eyes gazed into his own. It was as though some huge force were pressing down upon you, something that penetrated inside your skull, battering against your brain, frightening you out of your beliefs, persuading you, almost, to deny the evidence of your senses. In the end, the party would announce that 2 and 2 made 5, and you would have to believe it.
Or stop the video and see if you can find complex sentence, simile and a list, and plus decide what semantic field the text falls into. Here are the things that we highlighted. So we decided that the vocabulary was in the semantic field of brainwashing because of the words hypnotic, force, pressing, penetrated, battering, frightening, beliefs, persuading, evidence, and have to believe it. So it's in the semantic field of brainwashing. There's a complex sentence with a list in the middle, and the simile is as though some huge force were pressing down upon you.
What's the writer saying here? Well, the book cover is intimidating. What's the character feeling? Negative and overwhelmed. What do you understand? That the society he lives in exerts strong control. And how does it make you feel? Sympathetic, shocked and intrigued. The Time Traveller's Wife, Audrey Niffenegger. Long ago, men went to sea, and women waited for them, standing on the edge of the water, scanning the horizon for the tiny ship. Now I wait for Henry. He vanishes unwillingly, without warning. I wait for him. Each moment that I wait feels like a year, an eternity. Each moment is as slow and transparent as glass. Through each moment, I can see infinite moments lined up, waiting. Why has he gone where I cannot follow? Can you work out the semantic field of the text and find alliteration, simple sentences, rhetorical question, complex sentences, repetition and a simile? So the semantic field is of time or waiting. The alliteration would be women waited. Simple sentences are quite common. I wait for Henry, I wait for him. Rhetorical question, why is he gone where I cannot follow? Complex sentences. Long ago, men went to sea, and women waited for them, standing on the edge of the water, scanning the horizon for the tiny ship. There's repetition of wait and waiting, and a simile, as slow and transparent as glass. What's the writer saying here? This woman is waiting for a man who is somewhere mysterious for an unknown period. What's the character feeling? Desperate, lonely, and perplexed. What do you understand? This woman is waiting like many women have in history for many reasons. How does it make you feel? It's very moving and induces sympathy. Here's one for you to do. Dracula. Here is a short passage from the middle of a chapter of Dracula. I was afraid to raise my eyelids, but looked out and saw perfectly under the lashes. The girl arched her neck. She actually licked her lips like an animal till I could see in the moonlight the moisture shining on the scarlet lips and on the red tongue as it lapped the white sharp teeth. Lower and lower went her head as the lips went below the range of my mouth and chin and seemed about to fasten onto my throat. Then she paused, and I could hear the churning sound of her tongue as it licked her teeth and lips, and could feel the hot breath on my neck. Then the skin of my throat began to tingle as one's flesh does when the hand that is to tickle it approaches nearer, nearer. I could feel the soft, shivering touch of the lips on the super-sensitive skin of my throat, and the hard dents of 2 sharp teeth just touching and pausing there. I closed my eyes in a languorous ecstasy and waited with a beating heart. How does the writer use language to describe the vampire girl? 8 marks. You could include the writer's choice of words and phrases, language features and techniques, and sentence forms. I've colour-coded 3 semantic fields, the green, the pink, and the blue. The green runs as follows: arched her neck, licked her lips like an animal, white sharp teeth, sound of her tongue, licked her teeth and lips, 2 sharp teeth. The pink ones are as follows: the moisture shining on the scarlet lips and on the red tongue. And the pale blue are as follows: hear the churning, feel the hot breath, the soft shivering touch of the lips, hard dents. The words in blue are in the semantic field of intense physical sensation. In green, the girl appears in many ways like an animal, and this is zoomorphism. And in pink, the 2 colours of red are mentioned, which associate the reader's thoughts with blood and danger. Choose 2 of these to write your answer. As with previous questions where we're going to talk about language amongst other things, we're using the PETA or petal structure. So what's the writer saying? What evidence or quotations do you have? What technique are they using? But most importantly, what is the effect on the reader? What do you understand? What do you feel, and what implications can you pull out that might go further than what the text is directly saying on the page? I chose these 2 topics. The semantic field is that of intense physical sensation caused by the girl, and the girl appears in many ways like an animal, using zoomorphism. Zoomorphism is assigning something that is not an animal the characteristics of an animal. Here is a reminder of the paragraph, question, and highlights. Here are 2 model paragraphs. The first one is about the semantic field of intense physical sensation. Throughout the extract, vocabulary from the semantic field of intense physical sensation is used. To show the terrifying effect of the girl on the protagonist, the writer relates that he can hear the churning and feel the hot breath, the soft shivering touch of the lips, and the hard dents of 2 sharp teeth. The nouns churning, breath, touch of the lips, and dents of 2 sharp teeth, and the adjectives hot, soft, shivering, and hard enable the reader to feel the intensity of physical sensation and implies the fear of the protagonist. These explicit adjectives make the full range of physical sensations very alive for the reader, who may feel a little disturbed by them. The second paragraph is about the fact that the writer describes the girl in many ways like an animal, using zoomorphism. The writer represents the vampire girl like an animal. He does this by describing her actions, and especially her mouth and teeth, by repetition of the word teeth and using verbs and adjectives such as licked and sharp. The repetition of teeth reinforces the animalistic nature of the girl, and the actions of licking and her sharp teeth, the simile like an animal and that she arched her neck, emphasise that she causes a sense of fear in the main character, implying that this would be caused to a human in the presence of a dangerous animal. This is zoomorphism. 2 colours of red are mentioned, which associate the reader's thoughts about the girl with blood and vampires. Let's put an answer together as a class.